This is the Wednesday Weekly Wins. Hi, I'm James Wedmore, and with 17 years online, I've built my business to over $12 million in sales per year. And this is the first non-business business podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of spirituality, energy, and mindset to grow your business beyond your wildest dreams, all from the inside out. This is the Mind Your Business podcast.
Bec, hello. Welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you for joining all the way from Australia.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a dream to be on here for 3 years. So it's feeling very surreal, and I am absolutely honored to be here and share my journey.
Well, I feel so privileged to be able to be the one to interview you today. When you told me your BBD success story, my jaw literally dropped. Your results are absolutely stunning in the last couple of years. So I can't wait for you to share your story, because I know it's going to make a huge difference for a lot of entrepreneurs out there listening. So I want to dive right in. For people who don't know you, why don't you give a little introduction of what you do, who you serve, what is your niche, and where were you when you joined BBD?
Yeah, all right. So I'll try to be as quick as I can about this, because it's been a long journey. But I help the woman who has tried it all when it comes to dieting and also gut issues. So women that feel really stuck, they're trying everything, nothing's working. And not only that, they can't find long-term success with their approach as well. So the scale isn't moving, they can't find answers to their bloating issues, but then also they're stuck in that yo-yo dieting mindset and mentality, and they can't get out of it because they're not doing something sustainable. And it all comes from my own personal health journey. And that's what gives me the passion every single day to show up, because as you would know, like running a business isn't easy, but I feel like when you've got the passion and the personal journey behind it, it does make it easier. So I had so many unexplained gut issues in my late teens to early 20s. And then that started to go hand in hand with it just being harder for me to manage my weight. And I was a very, very, very health conscious woman. So things weren't making sense. And I was seeing specialists and doctors. And I was also studying a Bachelor of Science Nutrition degree at the same time. So after my degree, I ended up doing all of my own research and finally figuring out an approach to eating that not only helped my gut issues, but also made me be able to manage my weight far easier with no hunger, and still enjoy life at the same time. And so it's honestly an approach that I just feel so passionate about, because I live and breathe it myself. Yes. And then I help other women do the same.
Oh, so I resonate with that, because I've gone through my own journey with all sorts of food allergies and gut stuff and research and all of that. And it's such a critical element to our health, not only for feeling good in your body, but having vitality and being healthy in your body. So what an incredible mission. So thank you for all of your work. And I know that I believe you joined BBD a couple of years ago. Is it 2019 now that you joined?
It was mid 2020. So
2020. Okay.
It's about 3 years ago.
Take us back to when you joined BBD.
Yeah. So before I joined, I started my business by just working with women one-to-one. So I was doing consults. It was just one-to-one service. And, every sort of day and month of my journey, I've just kind of taken it as it comes and sort of just listened to what people want, seeing their results. And I've just sort of grown from that. So for the first kind of 2 years, I was working with women one-to-one. But then quite quickly, I was becoming full-time, and I was like, this isn't going to scale, obviously. And after working with hundreds of women and seeing that this approach worked so well and they were getting these insane results, I knew that I had to turn it into a digital product. So I finally, could see common themes amongst women, and it was finally time for me to be like, actually, it makes sense to create a meal plan that suits a lot of people, but of course that can be adapted to their needs and stuff. So I spent about a year before I joined BBD creating that myself. I had like one person working for me that helped. seeing clients at the same time. It was just a year of burnout, insomnia, stress, trying to teach myself everything because I thought I had to do everything myself. And so before I joined,
I'm going to do it all myself.
you just, I had that mindset that it was, my brand is me. And so I found it very hard to even imagine anyone else doing my tasks because I thought it all had to be me. But then, I did hit rock bottom in, just before I joined BBD, and I just needed more help. I was like, I can't go on like this because business was, plateauing. I was my 3-week body reset. That was my first digital product. It was selling so much better than I thought. Like I was really excited because for about 6 months, I dropped to seeing only one client a week. And that was, the income from the 3-week body reset, which was my digital product, was, a lot to me at the time. And so I was kind of happy, but I was burnt out. I was doing everything and it was kind of plateauing because, I hadn't learned all the tools yet in BBD. So that's why I joined in mid 2020.
Well, you sound like young James, because I know young James also at one time believed that if he didn't design even the logo, it didn't count as his logo because he had to do everything himself. And I think that that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with in the very beginning. And then when you reach what feels like that glass ceiling above your income or above the scalability of what you're doing, then you start to ponder, is there another way? And I think that's where a lot of people enter BBD and the structures and the processes. So it's 2020. Tell us what's your business at that moment when you joined BBD, and then what happened once you were inside? What changed?
What changed firstly was mindset. Before I even joined, he'd already brainwashed me so much with his podcasts. When I say brainwashed, I mean it. I just truly believe that, what you consume every day. So between, Business by Design and him, it starts to change your thought patterns and your identity and the way that you think about business and life. So I had that hustle mindset that you have to hustle 24/7 to be successful. But straight away upon joining, I really enjoyed his be, do, have model. And then there was other podcasts that he did at the same time that made me just step into that CEO mindset more now, even though I wasn't that yet, and start acting like that person and thinking, what would that person do? And, after going through that and then going through the I really liked it how he broke things down into 90 days and told you to focus on one thing at a time. So I realized that I needed to start becoming more of a CEO and, doing things like replying to DMs all the time because I was obsessed with that. I thought everyone needs a reply from me. Everyone needs a reply to my email. He taught me through that's not what a CEO would do, because would they be doing that? And that really helps change my mindset of going, no, a big business owner that's making multi-million dollars wouldn't be replying to DMs and emails. And so it was a mindset shift, along with my first goal was the outsourcing. So the systems that he created around outsourcing. And I said to myself that was my only goal, to just get all of my systems written down and to outsource to my first VA. And I instantly, when I handed stuff over to her, I just instantly felt so much relief, but not only relief, I had so much time back.
Yes.
So then I could start actually focusing on those 5% things that he teaches you. And, once it almost freed up a whole day a week. So I could actually then launch a podcast, which I launched at the beginning of 2021, which was about 6 months after BBD. In that first year of joining BBD, I did around 166,000 income, but the first half of the year was a lot less compared to the second half. So before I joined, I was doing, I think, around 5 to 10K months, but, simply just outsourcing started to bring in 15 to 20K months.
Wow.
And then
immediately. Wow.
Yeah, I know. And then that was the first step of going, yes, hiring, you need to pay someone, but then you do tasks that can help you scale more and make more money. So it started to feed that almost like addiction that I have now to outsource, because then you can do the tasks that actually help you scale and grow. And to me also, I know I'm talking so much, but there's just so much to say. Whenever I think of scaling, James really helps me as well, because it's not like the extra money that's coming in gives you more money to be able to hire more people. But to me, the more that I scale and the more that I make, it literally just means that I'm changing more lives. And that's what keeps me going as well. So I never really think about the money. It's the, oh my God, if I'm selling more, then it's more lives changing.
I just got chills when you said that. That we talk about that distinction all the time. In fact, there was something that just came up because when you run traffic to cold ads, you get all sorts of opinions coming forth on the internet. And there's just been this unique trend emerging right now where people are saying, well, if you're a multimillionaire, why are you spending your time helping other people? And James and I had this discussion about it, going like, yeah, that was our reaction, was like, well, wait a minute. The money is a reflection only of you presenting what your work is out in the world, your dharma, your gift, what you feel like your mission is. And James is so passionate and has been since he was really since he's a little boy, he's been obsessed with entrepreneurship and business. And he's always wanting to help people have that level of freedom. And like you're talking about, where instead of creating your own business as this constant, persistent grind of hustle and hard work and stretching yourself and into the wee hours of the morning and no sleep and full speed ahead, no breaks for the boss. He wants to train people how to create this $1 million machine where you set it in motion and then it generates itself. But it's really more about how many people can I help? How many people can I reach? And what is it that I know that I'm here to teach and give out to people? And then if you do that, the money's just the byproduct of that.
150%, 200%. Like, I always think like that because, if you're making money, but there's no purpose behind it, then would you even be happy? My happiness is in changing people's lives. And God, it makes me want to cry. Like every single time I get, every day now, there's just reviews that are coming through. You've changed my life. I've been trying things for years. Wow. And that is what keeps me going. And then the beautiful side effect is the money that then can help me hire more people, scale more, and also, travel like we'll get into, because I can't believe what's happened in the last year. But
oh my gosh. Yes, we have to get that story. I want to back up just one moment because you gave a distinction pretty quickly that I love that you mentioned, which is James's principle of the 95-5 for the digital CEO. And that is what he calls the Pareto principle on steroids. So the Pareto principle is a mathematical principle found all over. That's this concept that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And James believes deeply that in business, when you're talking about the role of a CEO, 5% of your actions are determining 95% of your results. So when Bec said, I could focus on that 5%, what she's distinguishing is that there's 5% of activities and even mental load, like brain capacity, creativity, where she can put her focus and her efforts into, where she's that much more of service to her brand and to her clients. For example, having the bandwidth to speak and being in the ears of your audience every day versus having to answer every DM and email. Yeah. And I bet, without even knowing, I bet your audience tells you all the time that your podcast probably makes more of a tremendous difference for them than responding to individual DMs. And that's what he means by being able to outsource, build a team, and scale so that you can free yourself up to really be involved in those 5% activities that's going to grow and expand the brand.
100%. It just makes such a difference. And until you do it, you do it and then you see the growth and then it makes you want to keep going. It's one of those things that I honestly, looking back on my business journey, it's been about 7 years now. And, I wouldn't change a thing because of course you learn from the hard times. But if I joined BBD when I was first creating that digital product, my 3-week body reset, I would have just probably, definitely got results faster and been less overwhelmed and stuff, because he just tells you exactly what to do, and it's proven, tested stuff with systems, and it's proven to work rather than just trying to do everything yourself,
Yes.
So I just wish I joined sooner than I did. But, anyway, I'm happy now, but I just like to say that to the listeners that are listening, like if anyone's thinking of joining or whatever, just, you got to invest, because you get told what to do, and then, the results will happen.
I like to say it's like, do you watch the Great British Baking Show? I'm a huge fan of this show.
No, well, I'm in Australia, so I don't watch it.
Well, on the Great British Baking Show, they have bake-offs, and there's a competition where sometimes the instructions are only bake a lemon meringue pie. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
No recipe, nothing. That's all that it says. And when we're trying to build a business like that and there's no instructions, it can be really intimidating, overwhelming, lots of trial and error. You can be in the kitchen all day long, and maybe it turns out, maybe it doesn't. And on that show, there's disasters and then there's successes, and it's kind of up in the air what you're going to succeed with. But James's program is like, you got the recipe from a master chef and you just followed it step by step by step. And then you walk into a dinner party with this incredible pie and everyone's like, Bec, how did you bake this? And in your back of your mind, you're going like, I made it, but technically I followed the instructions. And it's a lot like that, where he gives you the step by step so that it makes it a lot harder to not succeed if you're actually following the precise recipe that he's given you, because he's tried it over and over and over and perfected the processes over years of trial and error, and then gives it to you in BBD so that you really can truly just follow the recipe and bake the pie.
100%, like instead of just listening to free podcasts, Googling this, Googling that, just, investing in one program that tells you what to do, you'll just get faster results. And also I truly believe in just listening to one or maybe two, people, instead of just scrolling the internet for everything. That's something that I used to do. And then when you find that one person and you just stick to sort of what they say, then I think that can be a really powerful thing.
Yes. Okay. So in your first year, you break through with this 150, 160K in a year.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened after that.
So then in 2021, I've looked at the stats and I did about 230K. So, increased it. Increased by, I don't know, like 80 or something. And then the year after, so that was 2022, which was last year, right? I doubled my income. So it was around 380,000.
Wow.
And the beauty of last year was, so the year before that, which was 2021, it was, yes, the podcast was out, but it was still so much refining. I've really got in, I have two products. So I've got my 3-week body reset, which women go through. And then if they get results from that, then I've got a membership, which also I created whilst in BBD because of all the outsourcing. So I had the time to sort of build a second product. So that's for women that get results, and then they join my membership to learn how to turn it into a lifestyle. So all of sort of 2021, I was still creating that, refining that, and I sort of spent all of 2021 and sort of like the beginning of last year just focusing on not creating anything new like a lot of entrepreneurs want to do, but just going, okay, this system is working. So how can I use a lot of James's tools in Business by Design to just optimize them more, perfect the messaging more? Like everything, I went through the sales page by design stuff. I went through the, perfecting my messaging in the find your niche section, all of the 5% tasks that we were just speaking about before. Plus I was just addicted to just outsourcing more and more and more each month. So it was quite freeing to almost have this product that was working, but just, it's almost fun. Like you change one little thing. I was like, okay, let's change the sales page and then test the conversions of that. And, so it was sort of like 2021 was doing that. But then last year I finally got myself to a point, which was the most incredible feeling last year, that, I got my business to a point that I'd refined the products, I'd refined the processes, I'd hired enough team members that I found myself being able to run the business on average. This wasn't every week. Of course, some weeks were different, but I could run the business on 5 to 6 hour days.
Wow.
But that's just focused work.
Yes.
I really believe in I was doing 2 days of work that in 6 hours, when you really are just doing the right tasks and you're focused and, you leave time for exercise and self-care and all that sort of stuff. I believe that it makes you work better. And last year was just so beautiful for me. This year got better, but last year was incredible because I hadn't taken a holiday in 5 years.
Wow.
Partly because of the mindset thing of going, I have to do everything myself, but also because I hadn't outsourced enough. I was like, how is it even possible? I just didn't think it was possible because I wasn't at that stage of my business where I could take much time off. So I would have Christmas off. Yes, I love having 2 weeks of Christmas off. And I went on a couple of business trips, but I honestly didn't take hardly any long weekends, didn't have a holiday. But then in April last year, I took myself to Bali for 5 days and I was like, oh, actually, I can do this. And it worked because I was like, well, my team's virtual and okay, I can. And then I decided to go to Italy mid last year. And I went there for 4 weeks. And that was a huge sort of test and learning curve for me because I was like, well, in my mind, I sort of thought to myself, I'm going away. My business isn't going to grow. I thought me not being at home working as hard because I knew that I just wanted to do 4-hour days there and actually enjoy myself for the first time in 5 or 6 years. It was beautiful because what happened there is that my happiness increased, my productivity in my sort of 4-hour days increased. Everyone on Instagram loved it. Instagram grew, sales actually grew. So being in Italy made my business kind of grow and it all sort of increased from then. So the second half of last year, it grew. I feel like it went from sort of, I don't know the stats exactly, but maybe the first half of the year was $30,000 to $40,000 months. And then the end of the year was more so $50,000 to $60,000 months. And then I went again in October for my 30th birthday because I was like, well, if people like it and the business is growing, let's just give them what they want.
If you go on vacation and the business grows, why don't you do that again?
I know. And so it was really, really nice to get to that point finally where I was like, and it wasn't just about traveling. For me, I cried so many times on these trips because it's a result, like we were saying before, of people's lives changing. So I was in Italy, living this, having these dream holidays, working on my dream business, but knowing that it's a result of women's lives changing. And it's just such a special feeling and something that was so beautiful because I'd finally got to a point where I was just doing all the fun tasks in a way. Even though I was working sort of, let's say between 4 to 6 hour days, I'd really tried to outsource as much as I can so that I was writing articles for the media. I was recording podcasts. I was doing my live Zoom calls with the tribe. It was all just really fun things as well. So that was an incredible year. And then I actually just went on a spontaneous trip to Italy a couple of weeks ago. I booked it on a Sunday and left on Wednesday.
I love that.
Yeah. And just this year's been wild. I hired a new Facebook marketing agency. And even that in the past, I thought, I never want to tell anyone that I have hired a marketing agency. I should be doing that all myself. I don't know. But they really have done such amazing work. And what they're mainly doing is repurposing my Instagram content because I've worked so hard, which I used James's structure for how to get the right testimonials. Make sure you get the before.
Such an important part in BBD.
Oh my God, it is. And through that, I've really built that into my strategy to growing the business. But then what the Facebook ads team does really just repurposing a lot of the testimonials. And in just 3 months this year, so from March, April, May, I did over 1.2 million in revenue.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was, I don't know, roughly 400 a month. And the fact that I did, about 380 last year, and then I've just made all of that in 1 month. is just beyond exciting, but I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, I feel like I went through a hard sort of transition stage because, of course, I had to suddenly and quickly hire more team members because there was so many more customer support emails, and that all happened. But at the same time, I'm also actually building an app. So it's like I'm building this new product. So even though I had that balance last year and I was doing 5-hour days, now that I'm building something new, that balance has gone slightly out of whack. I'm working about 8-hour days now, but that's because I'm building something new.
But then it'll be built, and then you'll go back to that 5-hour days. You're in the building and the tinkering of the machine right now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting business to grow that fast. So yes, it's exciting, but it comes that, you know what James says, it's like new level, new devil.
Good problems.
Yeah. And I don't know, like this month, unfortunately, my ad account was disabled. It's really hard to get around weight loss when you're advertising, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to be about, I don't know, like 250 this month and not 400, but I have so much faith in it. And another thing that James teaches me is I used to feel quite icky about selling, you know, but when you have a purpose, and he teaches you, when he changed my mindset about how to properly market your business and not just tell people about what's included, but tell people about the benefits and how it's going to change their lives, which he teaches you inside BBD, that makes me show up to, you know, in inverted commas, sell with no ick at all, because I know that it changes women's lives. And so I feel like that mindset shift as well with the messaging and thinking about how the other person is going to benefit, like you're literally changing their lives, then how are you salesy? So, you know, now that all these ads are going out, I'm like, I don't feel like it's not salesy at all. It's going to be changing people's lives. So it's exciting.
And I love in the messaging module where he gives you formulaic, it's almost like messaging Mad Libs, you know, like he gives you these formulaic language structure patterns where when you start filling in the blanks with your messaging and it starts coming out of your mouth, you're like, wow, I'm just inviting people to a transformation party. That's all we're doing with what used to feel like selling. And it starts to feel really natural and actually service oriented versus sales oriented.
Yeah. And it's quite hard for people. It was for me anyway. Like, it sounds simple, right? Like, to market in a way where it's like, tell people the benefits, not the inclusions, but it's, you kind of need a professional's advice. Like, I don't have a marketing degree, you know, like it actually is really important to make sure you get that messaging right, because it's, you know, with digital products, you can't just be like, oh, here's a bag, it looks pretty. Like, it's so much psychology. I've just had to learn just so much to sell, especially a weight loss product, because it's so saturated. Like, it's just all about the copywriting and the messaging and the results, and you know, constantly learning like a marketing degree in a way, more than I learn about nutrition sometimes.
So tell me what's changed in your life after joining BBD. What's different now?
Oh my God. I have a lot less overwhelm. I mean, at the moment, because I'm creating an app, there's so many things going on, so there are some overwhelmed days, but my life has just changed. Like, I didn't think it was possible. It's really hard to explain this. Like, me being able to go to Italy 3 times in 10 months, it's not something that I even, like, I could say that was a dream, but it wasn't, because I didn't even think, like, usually a dream is something that you think is possible. I just didn't even think that would be my future.
Yeah.
Before I joined BBD, I thought that I had to hustle 24/7 to be successful. I honestly thought, how am I ever going to have a time to have a baby? Like, that's going to be hard. Will it even be possible? How am I ever going to travel? Like, will I even have time for a relationship? I only sort of opened up my dating life a couple of years ago when I outsourced heaps of tasks.
All of that. I can feel all of that as you're telling me. I'm getting rolling. Yes.
And now I'm like, oh my God, so much is possible for me, because that last year of being able to travel to Italy 3 times and also this sudden business growth this year, if I didn't see that coming, I'm kind of like, oh my God, anything is possible now, like anything. And as long as I just keep following my purpose and staying true to my vision of helping women, and constantly learning from BBD. I always go back in there. There's still so much to learn. There's always things to learn. But my life's changed because I've actually got this sense of freedom, and just excitement for life. I can't believe I can travel and just have my laptop. But yeah, in the past, just my immunity was down. I was run down, didn't think that I would ever be able to have much freedom. And yeah, it's the freedom and the flexibility to be able to travel and also just knowing that anything's possible. And that's how it's changed my whole mindset and life.
2.5 years ago when you were just coming into BBD, if your future self would have said oh, by the way, and in 2.5 years, you're going to be at almost 1.5 million by the end of Q2 of 2023, and you're going to be building your own app.
Honestly, the app, I was like, that would be really cool one day, but what the hell? How am I ever going to do that? That's such a huge task. And not only that, I'm able to, I'm funding it myself, and I just can't believe that I can do that. And I just think I really believe in just taking it as it comes. Of course, it's important to have a plan, but what I've really done in my situation anyway is just build my products, but then really listen to my customers. And I know that James teaches this as one of a process as well with the surveys that you send out. I constantly send out surveys. I'm constantly listening to what people want and what's not working with the program and how I can improve things. And then that's how my membership was built. But then, it got to a point where it was because we use Kajabi, there's just features, especially when it's meal planning and recipes, that it got to a time where, number one, I've saved enough money to be able to fund it. But number two, I'm just listening to what people need and want. Yeah. So I feel like that's how it's kind of naturally evolved. But yeah, like you said, when I joined BBD, I didn't think, okay, I'm doing this because I'm going to build an app one day. I just trusted the process and took it one step at a time.
Yeah, I love that you pointed, and for everyone listening, what Becca's pointing to is post-launch processes, which is in BBD, where it's even after the launch isn't over. There's processes that he's got in there to elicit feedback from people who bought, from people who didn't buy. And then as you're listening and receiving that feedback, you can allow yourself to receive all of that and then make a strategic, data-driven decision around where you want to go next, or what offer might be best for even the people that didn't opt into the product. And then you can start to evolve some of the offers, or even in this case, create a new one that's this, what would really serve people is this offer.
And I use that process too. I would send out surveys for people that didn't join, which I thought was so smart by him in BBD. And then that did help me create sort of a second tier to my membership, to serve, and just, constantly sending those surveys and listening. And also, oh my God, I could just talk so much about the BBD, but just knowing your numbers, how he really teaches you to understand your numbers. That's key, obviously. So, so many business owners are, doing a lot of revenue, but are they actually profitable? What's their profit margin? So I've been very, very conscious of that, and I'm quite proud of my profit margin as well. It's a profitable business, and I'm just so thankful for James. I don't know where I would be if I didn't find him or be brainwashed by that incredible man.
Circle back to when you said that, when you used to be bouncing around the internet, and there's so many opinions out there, especially now, about how to run a digital business. Launching is dead. Launching is great. All of these contradictory pieces of advice. And when you said you find your person, then you listen to them and follow them. What is it about James that stands out to you as his secret sauce as a teacher, or what makes him the person that made you lean in and listen to him?
Definitely how he always talks about his own story, but also how he just really helps people design a business of their dreams, kind of thing. The main thing that sticks out to me when I think of him compared to other people is that he really teaches you to work smarter and not harder, to create a life that has freedom, where I feel like there's still so many people out there that do have that, you have to work hard to be successful. And, like it's still hard work. But James, also the fact that I really like how he mixes in, there's so much strategy, but there is so much mindset and spirituality. And whilst I say that, yes, the processes have really worked for me, one of the things, I reckon the biggest thing is all of the mindset shifts, because you can be told what to do. It's like with weight loss and health too. You can be told what to do, but unless you have the right mindset, you don't do it. So he's just shifted so much my mindset. So it's the mix of the strategy plus the mindset, and just him just, teaching people that you truly can design the business of your dreams and have that freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is that way. He is that way with literally everything that he does. Everything that he does is like, I want to work smarter, not harder, and we're going to make it fun.
Exactly.
I don't know if you've seen a video of him. He was hauling our recycling off one day. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of hard work, because we have all of these cardboard boxes that we have to take to the recycling. And then I just see him zooming by on his electric bike, and he's built a sled out of the biggest cardboard box, and he's loaded all the other cardboard boxes, and he's hauling them, and he is having a blast, the time of his life. And I was like, this man will find a way to make any hard work task fun and expedient.
100%. And I really try to do that too. I'm like, how can I make this more fun? Like I love, work in different locations, or just, there's always ways to make things more fun. And he definitely does that. Like he shows that it doesn't have to be, slogging at your computer 24/7 and be bored. It can be fun if you want to make it fun. And, he absolutely has that passion. You can see it and you can feel it. He loves helping people. And so I really relate to that too, because I feel like if you don't have that purpose to help other people, people feel that, on the other side of the podcast. I just,
Absolutely. Well, I hope anyone listening, if you're listening to Bec's story and that's opening up something for you, that's like, what else is possible? Is there your proverbial trip to Italy of you're taking your laptop and then expanding your business while you're there? And I love that you said that in the moment that you went, you thought, okay, I'm going to do this because I have the freedom to do this, but I don't know if my business is going to grow through doing this. And then out of you being in your most vibrant, positive state while you were there, that naturally pulls in this abundant energy, and your audience responded to that. And then you're growing your business while you're taking a vacation in Italy. That is absolutely incredible and so inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I really hope this does inspire people, because, also when you do have that time to like travel or just, outsource so that you're not chained to a desk 24/7, what that does is that it does open that creative mind, but of course the abundant mind too. And when you have that creative, happy mind, that is when the good work comes out. So that's when I would think of the best podcast topics and the best Instagram posts and EDMs, and the things flow. So one of like the biggest thing that I love to help people with and that James has taught me is that, to get your mindset right about working a little bit less and outsourcing more, it's only going to help your business grow, because you will do better work. And for me as well, like if the more overwhelmed I am, the less I sleep. So I just always focus on a lot of other health benefits. So, he's amazing. Like, what you guys do on the team is just incredible. And I think everyone needs to, be in BBD and listen to the podcast, because it's changed my life big time.
Oh, I love hearing that. Is there anything else that you want people to know, Bec?
I think I've said, there's so many different things, but I just really love, I was just like looking again in BBD just before the chat and just refreshing what I've done. And it's just like, even things like, I added an upsell to my checkout page from his business processes section, and he talks you through step by step what to say, how to write the script, like all of it. And I just remember being like, this is so cool. It took me like a whole day or something to do, but he knows what he's doing, and you follow the step-by-step process. And then that added, I haven't looked at the figures, but with the income, but it's definitely made a lot of people join my membership at the same time as the 3-Week Body Reset. And just his processes that are so step-by-step and so easy are just so good. And I'm just really glad that I'm now in that mindset, because I promise it to everyone listening, it's not a quick mindset shift to just go, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be the one that does everything and, get comfortable with doing, like, working a little bit less. It takes time. But when you get there, it is the most freeing and best feeling, because you can truly just design your life to just do the tasks that grow the business and that you enjoy. And then when you see the results of, when you outsource more and you see the results of you doing those 5% tasks, it makes you addicted, and the growth will come. But it's been a slow burn. It kind of has, but that's something I want to say too. And it hasn't obviously all been easy. It's been bloody hard, but it's just, it's so worth it.
What is next for you, and where can people find you?
Yeah. So what is next is my app. It's still the same product. So it's still my 3-Week Body Reset and the Health with Bec Tribe. I really believe in just sticking with what works.
Yes. True to James form.
Yeah. Except it's all going to be designed as like a custom app, which just means there's just so many functions. Like, people can swap around meals, add meals, and then the shopping list is like automatically updated, and there's a personal tracker. And it's just, it's been a beast of a project, let me tell you that. But that is coming out in about a month if all goes to plan. And then the plan is to fly back to Italy as soon as that is launched. And I've got things sort of sorted with any bugs that happen and stuff. Who knows? But I will be flying back to Italy when that is out. And then I've been reached out to by a few book publishers saying, oh my God, like, you have to create a book. So I might do that. It's not this year. I just want to get the app done. Enjoy. Life to me now is, I don't want to be overworked and overwhelmed all the time. Like, at the moment, it's a bit like that, but I'm like, how can I outsource more to get that balance back? Because life's too short to be feeling stressed all the time. So just the app, and then perhaps a book next year. And everyone can find me. I'm Health with Bec on Instagram, and then healthwithbec.com is my website. And my podcast is called Body Bites with Bec.
All right. Okay. I mean, if you weren't inspired listening to that, I want to go book a ticket to Italy now.
Good, do it.
Bec, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you so much for so generously sharing your story. And I hope that everyone listening to that can see for yourself what's possible as well, and feels inspired to go book a ticket.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And it's been just honestly the biggest honor. And I'm so grateful and thankful. And I really hope that this story does inspire lots of listeners.